Hey, it's GW coming to you live once again, YouTube reviews. Hey, I'm gonna talk about this movie Terminator Dark Fate. I know that when you read the reviews, people are split. They either love it or hate it, and there's a big reason why people love it. There's also a lot of reasons why people hate it. So I'm gonna tell you what's good about it. As you can see, Linda Hamilton returns, Arnold Schwarzenegger returns. The action pieces are pretty awesome. And then there's the Terminator that's really cool. He's called a Rev 9. And if you guys haven't seen this, I'm not going to spoil too much of this on this review, but the Rev 9 is a combination T800, T1000 that can actually split himself into two. It's pretty cool. And the action sequences are straight out of a Terminator film, which you would expect, obviously. Big, huge action set pieces. One is in an auto shop, another is in a border patrol detainee camp, another one is in a military aircraft, and the last one, which I would call showdown sequence, is at the Hoover Dam. So it has pretty cool action sequences and a good environment for it. There's also in any Terminator movie, there's also good chases. This one is no exception. It kicks off right at the beginning and it goes. The other one thing is that the two leads, other than Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger, are played by Mackenzie Davis and Natalie Rees. I don't know who's who, but the girl you see holding the chain right there, she is a augmented human sent back to help the girl with the black hair there, which I think her name is Natalia, because she is carrying what would become a future leader of the resistance. So, that to me is all the good stuff. And people are divided on it because the bad stuff happens where Terminator 2 was a huge worldwide success. I mean, that thing shattered box office records like you wouldn't believe. However, less than 5 minutes into this film, this movie sort of says, well, that film was okay, but it wasn't a strong part of the trilogy because they kill off one main character and it pretty much would turn people away. The other bad thing with this movie is that after Terminator Genisys and Terminator 3, people were pretty much sick to death of how this film franchise got treated. Terminator Genisys was just a ridiculous film. I kind of enjoyed it on a corny level, but it didn't take itself seriously. It was a PG-13 movie, if I remember correctly. And it really didn't have the violence or the intensity of the first Terminator 2 movies. Terminator 1, Terminator 2. Terminator 3 was awful because Edward Furlong was going through rehab or something. So they had Nick Stahl play an older John Connor. And Nick Stahl is great. I liked his work in Carnival. And he's a great actor. You know, but he just didn't fit the role with John Connor. As hard as he tried, and he really did try, it wasn't his fault the film flopped. The storyline was pretty ridiculous. So audiences didn't really care for, you know, what I would call, you know, the fleshing out of the franchise here. They were just sick and tired of it. This film got the bum rap because on opening weekend it was declared a flop because of previous entries. Now that's not saying that this film is going to revive the franchise at all, not by a long shot. But it's a better entry than Terminator 3, Terminator Genisys, or Terminator Salvation, which I didn't even bring up because to me it's set before the events of Terminator 1 and therefore can't be compared in the original, in the storyline, you know. However, I watched this film and I was on both sides of the fence the entire time. By the end of the movie, it was actually a very decent thrill ride. The story concept, of course, was created by James Cameron. The female leads are great. There is references to why John Connor. Oh shit! I gave away a spoiler. There is references as to why John Connor was killed. Edward Furlong's character. Surprisingly, though, I will tell you this: the CGI in the movie, in the very beginning, had Edward Furlong look like he was about 15 years old, and Sarah Connor looking like she was in Terminator 1. They've been doing a lot of this, guys. They did it with The Irishman in Netflix, which was an awesome movie. If you haven't seen that, check it out. And they've been doing it, they have this way of making old actors, look young again. It's very cool. The other thing that I don't think people will care for is that it deviates from the Skynet mythology. You learn a little bit about what happened to it, but not enough to really fully go, okay, I get it. So that was just a misstep on their part. And I think this film tried to be so much to so many people. And after, like I told you, after the bad taste of Terminator Genesis, Terminator 3, and Terminator Salvation, audiences just weren't ready for a disappointment. This one I would rank up to right after number 2. The other problem with this film is that, as I mentioned, audiences were sick of the previous Terminator movies other than Terminator 2. This film says those other films didn't exist. So it's doing what the Halloween franchise did. They made Halloween, Halloween 2, and then most recently Halloween, directed by Danny McBride. And in that film and in this one, 80s action heroine stars are brought back into the spotlight because apparently that's the trend. And nothing against Linda Hamilton. I thought her performance was great. She plays a down on her luck, hard drinking, Terminator killing, off the grid type person. Same way with Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween. She plays a shut-in. Her whole life is an obsession to kill Michael Myers. So they pretty much pulled the same thing here, minus the Michael Myers. What else can I say? Location. This was not set in LA, New York, whatever. Half of the film took place in Mexico, which is very cool. And the new guy that plays the Terminator has an ominous presence, and he likes to look at you for a second before he kills you. So overall, guys, Terminator Dark Fate isn't as bad as critics make it out to be. It's just a different direction. But I think it buckled under its own weight because now you really don't know where the story's going to go because you don't know if there's going to be another Terminator movie in the works. I'm thinking there will be, but it might go straight to video. This thing was, like I said, really poorly received at the box office, and it's not its fault. Like I said, it was more people just got tired of crappy sequels. This one, for what it was pretty awesome. And I got the Blu-ray. It was only like $20. I've seen reviews where people said this movie's absolutely garbage, but I had a good time watching it. And I was really surprised at the fight scenes. They're pretty awesome. And if you watch the very tail end sequence, the Jeep that was in the original Terminator is in this one. So it's worth checking out. So again, I think this missed its calling at the theater, but I think it should be pretty much revved up on home video. I mean, it's really fun. You get a bunch of guys together, watch this thing. It's a great action movie. But I do think that this is probably going to be the final one, considering the box office scores. So I would give this film probably a 7 out of 10. But it was fun seeing Linda Hamilton back in the fray as well as Arnold Schwarzenegger. His current state when you watch this movie, if you don't want to read too many spoilers, or I'm not going to tell you, it's pretty interesting how he's integrated himself into society. and he is a T-800. If you guys didn't know, he's just not some guy. He is the T-800, which people are going, yeah, Greg, it's Terminator movie. He's a T-800. But T-800s, I guess, when their missions are over, can develop consciousnesses. So it's definitely pretty cool. Better than what I thought it would be, but like I said, just missed its calling at the box office. So if you're not doing anything, flip on T2 now, or Terminator Dark Fate. The movie is about 2 hours and 8 minutes long. Little bit lengthy, but the action sequences pretty much rev it up, make it up for it. And there's some good stunts in here and action sequences, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, that's my take on Terminator Dark Fate. I hope I helped you guys out. Enjoy. And I'll see you in the future.